Hello and welcome to the Championship Talk podcast. I'm your host Paul O'Toole and joined, I worked out it's that way, my co-host Thomas Falco.
Hello!
So we're going to start with some, well, it's not breaking news, as I was surprised by it, but you said you weren't. You've got some stats. Championship club Bristol City have sacked Dean Holden following a run of 6 successive defeats in all competition. I think I'm surprised just by how many clubs are beneath Bristol City that I would see are bigger. However, you've got some stats that basically say it really hasn't worked out for him.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to apologise for having to reach over to get my notes, which blew away, believe it or not. Yes, 41 years old, only appointed in August on a 12-month rolling contract, so they didn't have to pay a lot of compensation. He did an interim charge after they sacked Lee Johnson in July. He was the assistant manager before, wasn't he? And I can remember us discussing at the time, we were a little bit surprised that he got the job on a full-time basis, weren't we? I know he'd done a good job as an interim manager, but we thought maybe at the time that was a bit of a big, bold decision to make, really. Only got one managerial job under his belt. I believe it was with Oldham a few years ago. But looking here just at my notes, I'm putting my head down quite a lot tonight reading my notes. They lost 12 of their last 17 league games. And we said they were streaky. Of their last 17 league games that I could see, they've won 5 and lost 12, nothing in between. So you put that into perspective. Their last 17 games have been disastrous for Bristol City, haven't they? But his managerial record overall, since he's been in charge league game-wise, I believe, played 41, won 18, drew 5, lost 18, 43.9% win rate. So that's not the worst. But you look at that in isolation, in the last 17, they've lost 12. It's not good. It's not good at all. And Bristol City have built season on season, haven't they? Even under Lee Johnson, they were in that just they make that late push for the playoffs and then just die off at the end of each season, unfortunately. They feel they should be doing better, and maybe a change of regime, even though the 2 assistant coaches are currently in temporary charge, might be the way forward for Bristol City. A clean break from the Lee Johnson era. Dean Holden's had his chance and unfortunately it hasn't worked out for whatever reason. And maybe that is the best way to go for Bristol City. They are a progressive football club, and maybe that's the way they need to make that next step, is by just maybe getting someone in with fresh ideas and a different perspective on things. I don't know what your views are on that.
I mean, there's some good managers that you would name. However, are they likely to go to Bristol City? Now, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It sounds like it. I know it does. But they haven't been in the Premier League. They are a big club in the part of the world that they're in. But are they going to get an Eddie Howe? Are they going to get? I mean, you're probably going to go through the betting odds. I think Paul Cook's been mentioned as well. Yeah. I would say Paul Cook would be a good fit. I think we're going to go on to some quite stellar names being linked for other jobs. I just don't see Bristol City being in that category. And I mean, what are they going to do? Bring in Tony Pulis? I mean, it just don't seem to. They want new ideas, but ultimately they want to win football matches. They don't. Let's be honest. Neil Warnock wouldn't keep getting jobs if people just didn't want to win football matches.
Of course, and looking back, they don't tend to make. This is going to sound really bad, and I don't mean it to be. They don't tend to appoint fully established managers or head coaches. They tend to take a chance on younger, maybe lesser proven managers, or ones who have done well at a lower level. Whether that is going to change for this appointment or not, I don't know. Obviously, that's up to the owners and the board to decide. You are right. I have got the odds as of 23 minutes past 6 this evening, so that may have changed. Although I did check this before we come on air, and in fact they hadn't changed. Michael Appleton is the current favourite at evens, and he's
current
doing
League One leading manager,
doing such a good job at Lincoln at the moment. He's been about a bit as well. If you look at his previous, I think he's been Portsmouth and Blackburn amongst others as well. I think Blackpool. I might be wrong saying Blackpool, but definitely the first 2 mentioned. Then Eddie Howe is 3-1. He's next there, and you've said, can they maybe appeal to someone like Eddie Howe?
He's not going there.
Yeah, well, you never know, do you? Bristol City are a well-run club. They are a well-run club, And I think maybe they could attract someone like that with just the way the things have ran behind the scenes. But I'm not saying that. I mean, obviously, we refer to the betting odds. I'm not encouraging gambling. This is just a rough idea of where we are at the moment. Paul Cook is 4-1, as you've mentioned, been out of a job since he left Wigan. And Russell Martin, who I believe is MK Dons, 8-1. The rest are quite large odds. So that's just a rough idea of where the market sits with that. Michael Appleton is still quite young, isn't he, for a head coach / manager doing such a good job of Lincoln? But
is he still tainted from the Blackburn stint? Blackburn, yeah, it was Blackburn, yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a big job to turn down, but you look at the way Lincoln have been upwardly mobile, especially under the Cowleys in the last few years. Does he want to stay there and get them into the Championship, or does he want to take that risk and go to Bristol City? It's a big call to make, isn't it? And I think a couple of other...
We know a manager that made that call this time last... Was it this time last year or this time 2 years ago? Nathan Jones. He had that same decision to make, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Leaving Luton to join Stoke. Wouldn't Bristol City are not in the same position as Stoke were when he decided to go to Stoke. They were there was a lot wrong at Stoke, wasn't there? Bristol City are a good club, and it's just a matter of who they can attract. I'm sure they'll have plenty more names applying for that role. A couple of other sources have said they're only interested in a couple of candidates, not seen who they possibly are. So it's very much watch this space. Bristol City, as we've said before, do tend to go for the more up-and-coming, progressive, younger type of head coach. Please at Championship TA1 if I've missed anyone out there. But Michael Appleton seems to fit that quite well, doesn't he? And it'd be very interesting to see what happens there, because Lincoln stand a very good chance of getting promoted to the Championship, and that'd be good for him to have on his CV and maybe a little bit of stability.
Well, they're top. I think they're top by a point, and I've got 2 games in hand over Hull, so they're in a great position. Lincoln to Bristol City is a massive step up, and I think that makes more sense than Eddie Howe to Bristol City. So, as you say, well, watch that space. I mean, from outer space comes Thierry Henry being named as Bournemouth manager. I mean,
well, he hasn't been named as Bournemouth manager. He's been linked with the Bournemouth job.
Being in that same stratosphere, obviously, currently in charge of FC Montreal. Didn't do a great job at Monaco. I'm an Arsenal fan, so to have Thierry Henry in the Championship would be, as a manager, would be... It would bring a spotlight to this league that, hasn't happened since Wayne Rooney joined Derby.
way back.
Way back in the days. Way back.
This one... Sorry.
I'm going to finish because he's got no proven managerial experience. His win percentage in Monaco is about 20%. His win percentage in Montreal has been about 30%. The only reason you bring in Thierry Henry is the brand appeal he brings to Bournemouth. As amazing as it is, you gotta be crazy. I mean, a manager's got to start somewhere. But no.
I'm in agreement with you. Obviously, his appointment would be massive for any Championship club. Bournemouth have obviously got that appeal, having only been in the Premier League last year. As a pundit of Sky, he probably knows a lot more about Bournemouth than people suspect, because he would have covered quite a few of their, or been involved with coverage of quite a few of their games. It's it has come out of the blue, isn't it? Games. When you have a look at the names that were linked last week, I know they've interviewed David Wagner, who obviously done a brilliant job with Huddersfield. He come completely out of left field, didn't he? No one had heard of him before.
Can I challenge that a little bit? Did he do a brilliant job? They got promoted with a negative goal difference. They were very lucky to stay in the Premier League the first season. It was disastrous. He went to Schalke, and it's been disastrous. Is he the legend that people think, or did he just have one fluky season?
He got Huddersfield up. He got Huddersfield up to the Premier League, so of course he's always going to be a legend. But he got them up, didn't he? It doesn't matter. The history books, I know we laugh about them being the only team to go up with a negative goal difference, but he got them up. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. And that club, although behind the scenes apparently not so good at the moment, and over the last couple of years they were put in a good financial footing because of that, so he'll always be seen as a legend. And I'm pretty sure Huddersfield Town fans in 5-10 years down the line wouldn't argue with him coming back at some point. They were upset when he resigned or when they parted company. Schalke, but then you look at what's going on at Schalke. I don't think there's a lot of people out there who could have done. He wasn't very good, obviously, but I don't think there are a lot of managers out there who could have done any better with Schalke. They're like a poison chalice in recent years. Then they were linked with Patrick Vieira as well, weren't they, last week as well?
Yes,
and there seems to be. It's good that these managers, we have sort of said it before, where in the past maybe players who have just retired think they should just start off at the top straight away, maybe coming down to the Championship level. It's a very competitive league and a very tough league to cut your managerial teeth, but the fact that they're willing to interview for jobs like this is a brilliant advertisement for the Championship, isn't it, really, that they want to come down and be part of this. Looking at the odds as they are, because you've stolen my thunder, the only thing I can say about Thierry Henry that you've not already said that I haven't gotten written down is he's 43 years old. You've said everything else. He's currently, as of 6:32 this evening, 7-1 on to be the next permanent manager of Bournemouth. 8-1 Jonathan Woodgate, 10-1 David Wagner, 20-1 John Terry and Patrick Vieira. Again, it's very much watch your space, but if rumours and reporting is to be believed, it very much seems that Thierry Henry could well be. He's the preferred choice according to many outlets as well. He could well be leaving the MLS with Montreal, as you previously said, and coming to grace our shores here. It's a very tough job coming this late into a season as well. You wouldn't have thought, if that does happen, you wouldn't have thought there'd be too much disruption maybe. But then again, as I say that, Jonathan Woodgate's only been there a few games as well himself, hasn't he? So
yeah, and he's won 3, drawn 1, so his record isn't bad. I would just say that Thierry Henry gets a free hit this season, because if Bournemouth don't go up, you can blame the previous manager and the fact that we're 1 or 2 wins away that we should have got under the previous manager. If he gets up, he looks like a hero because he saved their season. So he's losing nothing. He gets the second half of the season expectation unburdened, and presumably would be able to attract some, as Frank Lampard did. His reputation would be able to attract possibly, money's on Eddie Nketiah, loan signing next season, that type of stuff. I think it makes sense. It makes sense in every way other than the fact that Bournemouth are a great club. They've got a great reputation. However, why is Michael Appleton not being mentioned for the Bournemouth job? Currently league leaders in League One. Why would you not look at the whole manager? Is it Grant McCann?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not look at the team in second place in League One he is succeeding now with a club with less resources, less gifted players, and he's already doing it. Surely performance breeds success, and you would just look to bring in someone who's already succeeding at a lower level. Yes, you may have to pay some compensation, but I would imagine they're going to have to pay FC Montreal compensation, and I would imagine Thierry Henry's going to come with a far higher wage demands than Michael Appleton. That's just kind of how I look at it. And jobs don't work out. Monaco for Thierry Henry. There were other reasons why that job didn't work out. Patrick Vieira's been at Nice. That's been okay, I suppose. But surely you employ managers that are currently succeeding. Forest went to Chris Hughton. Now, obviously, not he was sacked by Brighton because they wanted to progress further. However, Forest would sell their right arm to be where Brighton were when Chris Hughton was sacked. They want to get to that level. So you give the job to someone who's... That's the only thing that I look at this and think it's a name rather than a philosophy. It's a name rather than a clear roadmap back to the Premier League. It's a name rather than... And it's a brand to sell shirts. And I think as much as I would love it and I'd love it to succeed, I'm baffled by the fact that they're not looking at League One and the managers in League One that are currently doing an amazing job and may not even want to come to the Championship. They may, or they do. They just want to do it with their current clubs. That to me just baffles me.
To counter your argument, it's because they were in the Premier League and they were established Premier League for more than one season as well, so they can probably attract these bigger names and they probably get the CVs of these bigger names coming in, don't they? Because we're not saying for 1 minute that.
Do you genuinely think they think getting someone like this is going to get them there?
You don't know, do you? You don't know. As you've said, I think you've hit the nail on the head with probably the appeal and getting when fans can come back into the stadiums and the merch and stuff like that. You're looking at that, aren't you, as well? Let's
be honest.
There are far.
It becomes Thierry Henry's Bournemouth straight away, and Bournemouth have their next 20 games on Sky.
Yeah, again, eyes on the product as far as Bournemouth are concerned. It does seem like a very left field appointment, doesn't it? And again, we've said it a couple of times. Watch this space. I would go if I was a club owner. I'd be going for a more established name in the Championship. Can we just mention quickly the job that Mick McCarthy has done for Cardiff since he's gone in as well? He seems to have sorted the situation out, and
you called it well before his Apwell days.
And he is a dinosaur, but he's gone in there. He knows the league. I was doing inverted speech. I'm not saying that I believe that. He's gone in there, sorted them out, and they've become effective, haven't they? And maybe
4 wins on the bounce.
Better suited to look. And I'm not saying for them to go and appoint a Mick McCarthy, but looking for someone who's proven at Championship level. And I see both sides of it.
Could we see the irony of Thierry Henry comes to Bournemouth? Old hand Mick McCarthy's Cardiff finish above them. Am I the only person that's sort of would find some sort of weird pleasure in the fact that he's sort of old dog, and especially the fact that you've then got Neil Warnock sniffing around as well? It really could be quite an interesting run. I think it'll be.
Well, I don't know what the Irish players would think about Thierry Henry going in at Bournemouth after what happened in that World Cup playoff, but
that'd be interesting, isn't it?
There we go.
He had a good hand in it anyway, didn't he?
But
anyway,
yes. Moving on from your Thierry Henry loving.
No, it wasn't a loving. I didn't want him to get a job. We're going to talk around something that's a little bit more unsavoury. However, we do need to cover it. We said back in August that Nathaniel Mendes-Lang had just been released, which seemingly came out of the blue. There was no further statement from Cardiff. There was no statement from Mendes-Lang. It was just he'd been pretty much sacked, I think is the best way to put it. However, it's currently been revealed that obviously Mendes-Lang now playing for Middlesbrough. He wants to leave his past behind him because he was released by Cardiff in September. Sorry, I'll get that right.
He was suspended in August and breach of contract in September
for breach of contract. The FA have subsequently it's been released that he was related. It was in relation to the winger admitting taking cocaine, and subsequently that's a breach of anti-doping regulations, and he served a 3-month ban. Get it right. For substance abuse. Obviously, Mendes-Lang now joined Middlesbrough, rejoined Neil Warnock. He's had support from the PFA for what was a difficult time for him. He appreciates the support of everyone that's helped him get back to playing football. He made 92 appearances for Cardiff, scoring 14 goals. He's admitted his mistake. Obviously, we believe people should get second chances. We knew that clearly something had gone on. I think we obviously couldn't speculate at the time. It's quite surprising because he was quite an important player for Cardiff, and obviously they felt the offence warranted cancelling his contract. Obviously, Middlesbrough were very quick to give him a second chance.
Yeah, again, I think you'll find that Neil Warnock's very loyal to players he's had before, isn't he? I believe it was him who was involved with him at Cardiff. Yes, as you've said, you've hit the nail on the head. Everyone deserves a second chance. He's obviously admitted to making a gross error of judgment, I think you could maybe call it as well. He failed a test after a 1-0 win at Bristol City on the 4th of July, and a B sample also returned positive as well. Surprising that this was kept quiet for such a long period of time as well, because normally there are rumblings. I mean, social media at the time, I mean, I'm going to hold my hands up, I did have a look and see if there was any rumblings on social media, and some of the things back in September that were said were absolutely disgusting and vile, and just shows how horrible social media is. Some of the things that's like so wide of the mark, it's unbelievable. He has got the support, as everyone deserves. The PFA do such a marvellous job with that as well. I'm just going to say what his statement said in a minute. He's obviously served his sort of time and has come back rehabilitated, and Neil Warnock, as I said previously, very loyal to the players who have done well from him before, and I know he's very keen to get him on side. And you see what they've done with the short-term deal they had with Duncan Watmore. They took a chance on him, and I know completely dissimilar circumstances. Sorry, he suffered from a lot of injuries, and they didn't know how much first-team football to get out of him, but he's done a wonderful job. He's took a risk on Nathaniel Mendez-Lang as far as fitness goes and sort of whatnot, and hopefully he does the job for Middlesbrough, because he is a quality player on his day. And I know a lot of Cardiff fans at the time were upset that he went without knowing the reasons why. He is obviously a quality operator at this level. His statement said, I have got that written down, with the help of my family, close friends, my agent and the PFA during this extremely difficult time, I have been able to overcome my personal hurdles. And as you said, he just wants to get on with playing football now. And we look forward to seeing what he does in the last couple of months in the Championship. Middlesbrough certainly got themselves a very capable and, at times, game-winning player.
So, thank you for watching. As always, if you want to hear the long-form podcast, head over to a podcast subscription service near you, Championship Talk Podcast, where we'll be running down the fixtures and previewing the games for the week to come. As always, leave us a thumbs up if you like the video, and comment down below if there's anything you want us to cover or anything you think we've missed. Also, you can catch us on Twitter at ChampionshipTA1, where we are on there all weekend because we've got nothing better to do because we're locked down, and where we're looking at the games. So, that's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And we'll speak to you all next week with some more Championship news. Goodbye.
Bye.